To be successful at the bassoon, you have to understand bassoon reeds, because inevitably, even if you never end up making your own reeds, you will still likely need to learn how to make reed adjustments, and at the very least understand the different parts of the reed and why they function the way they do. And in order to be able to adjust reeds, you have to understand the different parts of the reeds, which is the point of this video. So I'm going to explain every single part of the reed, its general function, and how you might adjust it and utilize it in your reed adjusting and bassoon playing. To start with, a quick explanation of how we get to this point. Essentially, the reed starts with just a piece of cane, and cane is the wood that we use for bassoon reeds, and it's kind of a bamboo-like material, but it comes in these straight pieces of cane. Through a number of processes, we eventually fold that cane in half and cut off the tip, and we wrap it with the thread and the wires to help support it, and we end up with this shape. If you're more interested in how we get to this point in reed making, if you want to see my reed making process, I'll throw a video up on the screen so you can check that out. But let's get started. Let's start with kind of the major structural components of the reed. Generally, we can define this part of the reed that you play on as the soft cane. It's the more malleable cane that you can adjust, and of course, you're actually going to be playing on. This part of the reed is all hard cane. It's not playable, and there's a clear definition between the soft cane and the hard cane, and that's this collar right here. And you might be able to tell that there's a clear kind of step up from the soft cane to the hard cane to delineate that difference. And of course, the hard cane has been formed, and we had to wrap our wires around it to provide structural integrity, as well as thread wrapping, although there's lots of different types of wrappings, but the thread helps to seal the reed and further provide structural support. So moving on to the part that kind of most matters when it comes to reed adjustments is the playable part. So let's start with the sort of bigger structural parts of the soft cane. So the biggest structural component is the spine, and that is right in the center of the reed. I'm just generally going to draw it here. This is where a lot of the support for the reed comes from, and it generally tends to be more of a thicker part of the reed. And in certain reed styles, when you hold the reed up to the light and look at sort of the silhouette, you'll sometimes see a clear spine in certain styles of reed making. But regardless of the style, the spine is always there. Another structural component is the rails, which is sort of the very edge of the blades here, right on the very edge. And that also provides structural support. So when you're reed making or reed adjusting, you want to be careful around the rails, just as you are on the spine, because digging too far into either of those places can really tank the reed. In general, if you're just trying to adjust reeds that are already made for you, you want to generally avoid these areas. In between the spine and the rails are the channels, and that is just kind of occupies all of this space in between those two spaces. The channels are kind of tied to everything. So if the channels are too thick, they can make the reed resistant. If they've had too much cane taken out of them, the reed may not be resistant enough, but they're not quite as structurally influential as the spine and the rails. So scraping more in these channel areas is generally a safer bet. If you would like to learn more about making simple, easy adjustments to already finished bassoon reeds, say reeds that you order in the mail or buy at the store, go ahead and check out my free bassoon reed adjustment quick guide, which kind of covers the most basic adjustments that you can make to reeds with the most simple materials. Some of them you probably already have lying around the house, and you can make a big difference in your reeds. And this is a skill that every bassoonist should learn at some point. Reeds change and often need adjustments, especially in the first days and weeks of playing on them. And so learning these basic adjustments is really important. So if you'd like to grab a copy of that, I'll link it down below. You just enter your email and I'll send it to you. we're gonna now look at the tip of the reed, which is kind of, the very tip is up here. And actually this very edge of the reed, the part that your tongue is, coming into contact with, is the leading edge of the reed. And that should be pretty much the thinnest part of the reed, because this is often responsible for response, initial response across all ranges of the bassoon. Although other areas of the reed certainly play a role in response, the leading edge is directly tied to how responsive the reed is. Going back a little bit, we still kind of consider this area behind the leading edge as part of the tip. So a lot of times, especially when you hold the reed up to the light and look at the silhouette, you can see these lighter areas. I'm drawing on it, but it's actually lighter where cane has been removed. And that we kind of consider that part of the tip. Now I've just kind of drawn triangles here because this is kind of the shape that it looks like in the style that I use, which is the Garfield reed style. But a lot of reed styles have more of kind of a thumbnail or rainbow shape at the tip here. So you can kind of see both. But generally these corner areas tend to be lighter because those are also tied to responsiveness. And this actual thumbnail or kind of these edge of these triangles, whatever reed style you're looking at, this is the resistance bump on the reed, where the lighter, thinner cane starts to blend back into the back channels, and it starts to get darker, heavier back here. And this can also affect response as well. If this is too thick, the reed will sound really airy and not have much responsiveness. So sometimes I'll actually blend between these two areas to get better vibration through the reed. And that's a good point to add in, that in reed making, we're often concerned with how vibration is traveling through the reed. So sometimes I feel like the tip is responding really great, but I don't feel like the vibration is traveling all the way through the reed, and I can tell that when I crow the reed. And if you don't know what crowing the reed is or how to use it, I'll throw up a video about the reed crow specifically. But I'm looking for the vibration to travel all the way through the reed, and sometimes I need the resistance bump to be more blended so that it goes through as well. Kind of related to the resistance bump in this kind of similar area is kind of the heart of the reed, kind of about this area, just behind the tip and in the spine area, and kind of protruding a little bit beyond the spine as well. This is another structural component of the reed that you want to be careful with anytime you're scraping in that area, because if you take too much out here, you might have an E in the staff that starts to sag, or your D above the staff might start to get a little weak because there's not enough cane in this particular area to provide support. So in reed making, we're always looking for balance. You don't want the reed to be too resistant so that you can't play it, but you also don't want the reed to be too responsive where it doesn't have enough substance to blow against, where you don't have control. So we're always looking for that kind of perfect balance in all areas of the reed. So looking at one other area of the reed, we're actually going to go back to the channels for a second and kind of look at this back third of the channels to the collar. And I'll shade it in right here. So I point this area out because these are part of the channels. It's not really a new area of the reed with a new definition. However, it's very important because a lot of the times, whether we're making our own reeds or buying pre-made reeds, sometimes the low register on the bassoon doesn't want to speak, or it's really sharp, or it just feels really stuffy. And a lot of times that is corresponding with the back channels of the reed. So this is an area you want to focus on, ideally with a knife if you're comfortable using a knife. And I do have a video on how to use a reed knife if you're brand new to it. But even with some sandpaper or even a small file, you might be able to remove some cane in this area. And that will help with low register pitch and response a lot of times. You generally want to avoid the spine as well, although, if the reed is really resistant, it might be a little thick in the spine in the back as well. But you want to be careful if you're in this area to not go too far forward if you're scraping on an already finished reed. So this area can really help with low register response, and you can even draw on the reed and remove the cane until you see the shading is gone, and then you know that you're scraping in the correct area. So that pretty much covers all of the major parts of the reed. Certainly we could dig into even smaller components, but those are all sort of the big labels that you need to be aware of. So if you're working with a teacher or you hear somebody say, don't scrape on the heart, that's this area. Or, if you want to improve the general response, go to the very leading edge of the reed. If you want to improve your low register, focus on the back area. If you feel like you're getting good initial response, but the reed isn't fully vibrating, you might look at this sort of resistance bump area. So all these different types of parts of the reed are super important, and it's important to note that while there are certain parts of the reed that correspond to kind of specific areas or registers on the bassoon, everything is tied together. So just because you scrape in the back of the reed for your low register doesn't mean that it isn't going to also influence your other parts of your register. Sometimes I will scrape in this back third to gain a little bit more depth of tone, not necessarily because the response or the pitch is horrible, but just to get a little bit better tone across all ranges. All these components work together in certain ways, and making an adjustment to one area might affect something that you're not intending it to as well, because everything is tied together. I hope this video was helpful for you. If it was, please give me a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Let me know any questions down in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.